Hey everybody, it's Jim Matt, and I am back with Scott Henden, who is running for the County Commissioner in North Kitsap. And for those of you in South Kitsap, you may be asking yourself, why do I care who's running for the County Commissioner in North Kitsap? And as it turns out, here in Kitsap County in Washington State, in the primary election, we elect the top two candidates that go on the general election. And then countywide, the candidates are voted on by everybody in the county. So we are blessed with the opportunity to help select the county commissioner that would be the representative for North Kitsap. And the candidate that I have here with me today, again, is Scott. And Scott is the Republican running against the incumbent Rob Gelder for the county commissioner position up north. So Scott, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we can jump right in with the first question that you can kind of dovetail together is, what caused you to want to run for county commissioner, and why do you think you are the best person to represent North Kitsap and Kitsap County as a commissioner?
Very good. Well, I am Scott Henden, running for Kitsap County Commissioner in District 1. I've lived in Kitsap County for 57 years. Owned and operated a small business, Henden Electric, for 35 years. I've raised 4 great kids in Kitsap County and been involved in youth sports and coaching, Habitat for Humanity as a board member, as a volunteer, Coffee Oasis as a volunteer and supporter. And I was on the North Kitsap School Board for 4 years. Why would I, as a small business, successful small business, choose to do that? I think we have ongoing issues that are facing us that aren't being addressed. I think affordability is one of the top ones. We've seen housing prices go up 90% in the last 9 years. We've seen rent go up 80%, and we've seen wages go up 30%. I don't think that's working well for people. I think we may address this further later as well, so I won't go on. But certainly some road situations like the Kingston Ferry Lane and the backup that happens every weekend there, Navy Yard traffic. We have 20-year-old problems here that haven't been addressed. I'm opposed to new taxes or added taxes to fix the budget next year. We know we're going to have a shortage. It's going to be something over 10%, it would seem like. And I think taxes are not what we need to do right now. But as a small businessman, I want to support business. I understand the struggles that it goes through from a very close level, and we need to help them out. It could be argued that I'm not the best educated, I'm not the best experienced. There's military people, there's people with degrees that could come into the county and say, I have a better resume than you. And I would not disagree with that. But what I would say is I'm passionate about what we do have, and I'm passionate about moving forward and changing some of these things, not using the same old politics that we've used for decades, but actually doing something. That's why I'm running. I have a successful business. I don't need this. I don't need the retirement, but I'd be glad to serve the citizens of Kitsap County doing this. And so that's why I think I'm the best candidate. I've got the fire.
Outstanding. All right, thank you. So then the next question is again, it's pretty straightforward, but what do you see as some of the biggest challenges facing Kitsap County, and how do you? I mean, and then you did mention some of these. How do you propose to address them? The Kingston Ferry Lane. What are some of the solutions available for actually, for what you think are the biggest challenges?
Well, I think affordability has been one of the top issues here. And there's not an easy fix here where somebody can just go in and overnight do something. But as a county commissioner, we can begin to change the rules and the culture that have driven up prices. Stormwater, energy codes, electrical codes, new building requirements, delayed permits, more expensive permits. All these things add up to more housing being less affordable. I think the biggest obstacle is growth management, which is a state issue, but I think the county commissioner has an obligation to inform the citizens so that they know, and then make sure that our legislators that are going down there to represent us know that this is really hurting people. that growth management is a big stumbling block to affordability. In Kingston, it's for 20 years, there's been a proposal. In fact, state owns property for a holding lane that would get the traffic off the highway, batching down into Kingston. And we just haven't had any movement on that in the last 9 years. I'd like to get that going. You know, we have other issues like we're supposed to have a bike park in Port Gamble. Property's been purchased for 5 years. There's been an MOU with the bike club for 2 years, and we can't seem to get through the permitting. If we can't permit some simple trails in a 60-acre forest, we're really in bad shape. We got a boat ramp at Hansville. Same thing. It's been paved. It's been, I believe, $4 million spent out there, but they never finished the boat ramp. We need to finish that. Certainly, at jobs, the same thing kind of applies there, as does the housing. We need to work with business, and we need to make it easier. We need to perhaps an ombudsman that would be on staff and actually help see that through and be their advocate. I don't think that we have. I think we have good staff there, but I think we lack leadership that says this is a direction that we want to move. So certainly the budget's going to be a big issue. We can count on that. I think we may need to make sure that we have a reliable number of deputies there, and our courts need to be fully operating as a priority. I would consider not doing just flat cuts across the board, but if we need to prioritize them, because I think they're a primary function of government.
Super, Scott. So, so this next question is a huge question, and I mean, and not all of the things that I want to talk about here are under the county's control, but we have B&O taxes, we have gas taxes, we have excise taxes, we have sales taxes. Federally, we have income tax, we got capital gains taxes, payroll taxes, emission taxes, road and mileage taxes. We got a tax on just about everything. Are there solutions other than taxes available to help us address our budget shortfall? And what is your preferred method of dealing with our budget deficit?
Well, I think the number one thing would be, let's get people back to work. Let's get them going. I just touch on COVID briefly, but I think the governor has overstepped his what he should have happened here, and we've hurt more people than we've helped. But the goal is, my dad was a hardworking civil servant, retired from that, but we need to support private jobs too. And I don't think we do a very good job of that. If you get out there and start talking to people, the number of people, as an electrician, I can't tell you how many times I've heard stories of the county changing the rules after permitting, or people buying property and thinking they have a path forward, and then all of a sudden it's much more expensive. But I think the number one thing is we need to help jobs. My idea, like an ombudsman, basically, I think that's a Navy term, but somebody that comes in, knows the system, and say, okay, here's how we not just have problems, but here's how we can solve problems. Here's how we can work with you. Here's how we can move things forward. And I don't think we have that right now. I think there's some good staff, and I think they mean to do well, but they're living with the rules given them. But I understand what some of them hardships are. I mean, from a very ground level, when government is hard to work with, and there's delays, and there's added costs. So the tax shortage, there's going to certainly have to be some cuts along with that. But we need to help business so that we can have jobs and commerce going.
All right. So that kind of dovetails into the next question, and the next question is beyond direct financial support, such as the grants and stuff that have been made available through the CARES Act and from Washington State Department of Commerce for our local businesses. Is there any other support or anything the local government can do to help the local small businesses to assist in the recovery of COVID-19?
Well, when there's grant money available, I think that we should take it. Philosophically, we got to realize sooner or later somebody's got to pay all this money back. We're spending money federally that we do not have, whether it's my kids or grandkids, but somebody's going to pay this money back. So we need to be careful there. If it is available, I think carefully vetting the companies that are getting that money to make sure that they're actually getting people back to work and creating product with it is a big one. But you know, these problems I'm going to come at from more of a business standpoint than a government standpoint. The government has a role there, but it's really about how do we get business and turn them loose, give them the best opportunity. It doesn't mean we can meet every business needs, doesn't mean that every business will fit, but at the same time, we need to look for ways to make that happen.
All right, thank you. So switching gears here a little bit, and this may be something as an electrician you're familiar with, but an adequate workforce in Kitsap County is critical to economic growth of the county. What policies or programs can local government implement to develop a strong, educated workforce?
Well, I think when 40 years ago when I went through high school, we had shop and those kind of things. I think them are a good introductory thing for kids building some skills, welding, working with metal, doing wood projects. I think that's a good start. I had several boys that went through West Sound Tech, auto mechanics and welding, and I think it helped them build some skills. I don't think in a trade school you can develop what you need though without being on a job. I strongly believe in apprenticeships where there is an element of school, there's some classroom time, but where people are actually getting out there and doing that work and seeing how it fits. For me, it started early. I mean, I just did things around the house. My dad was a do-it-yourselfer, and it may not have made me an electrician, but what it gave me idea was process. What does leveling look like? What's sharp? What cuts you? How do you think safely? All of them things take time really on the job. And so I'm a big fan of apprenticeships. I think trade schools can have a role, but I think they're limited until you actually get out in the field and all of a sudden you have to be there. You're earning a paycheck and at the same time you're learning a lot. And I think there's a good incentive for people to pay attention. I think especially at high school, I'm not sure that just having a trade school is enough to get them where they need to be, but apprenticeships are awesome.
Okay, so the last question I have here before we wrap things up is, how has growth management impacted? And by growth management, how do you feel the current growth management policies have impacted Kitsap County? What effect does it play on the economy? And is it, in your opinion, the best direction for us?
Well, growth management, I believe, was on a voter's ballot in '94. The voters turned it down. The legislature came back in, I believe, '96 and approved it. So it's something that the voters did turn down. But as a core of my philosophy, I believe government is best where it's closest to the citizens. So if you have a state agency that's telling us what we must do in this area, we've had zoning and planning for 50 years. And I believe that locally it does it best. So fundamentally, I don't like what growth management does. Now, I understand the goals, being efficient with where we plan infrastructure and all of them things are great. But if 20 years ago, what they were saying was growth management will drive down the prices of housing because we're clustering services and all that. And what we found is clearly that was not true. It's driven them up dramatically. I think it's put a burden on the cities to accept growth where they really don't have the infrastructure for it. And we need to look at some solutions outside of that. And I certainly believe in local control, but let's make no mistake about it. Growth management has really hurt this county in affordability. The other piece is, through growth, we want to tell people where they work, how they live, what kind of housing they have, how they'll get there. I'm not sure that that's government's role. I think government is there to support people and give them choices, the choices that they would make. And I think the economy would show that business understands where it needs to be to serve people. And planning's good. Let's look to the future for our roads or sewers or different things. But overall, I think growth management has really just hurt the county a lot and should be revised. It's a state issue. But as a county commissioner, can I advocate for it? Can I inform the citizens of how it hurts them? Can I call legislators and say, you know, this is really a bad thing. Why don't we do this instead? All of them would be avenues that I would pursue.
Scott, I want to thank you. I'm hoping this wasn't very painful for you, but I want to give you this opportunity here to kind of wrap things up, kind of wrap up your campaign for us. And do you have a website or something that somebody can go visit to see more about you?
Yeah, elect Scott Henden. We have a website there. Have a link to send emails to me if you had any questions or anything. I believe my phone number's on there, so it'd be great if people could visit that. So, you know, in closing, what I've been saying in this campaign repeatedly is I'm a solution-driven commissioner. You know, I think we have problems, although the incumbent's a nice fella, and I wouldn't want to disparage him. But at the same time, I don't believe he served the county well. I think that we have ongoing problems, ongoing concerns that just have not been addressed. And they're not going to be easy. I don't want to make it sound like it's going to be easy, but we have to begin to turn this ship in a different direction if we want solutions on some of these things. Big words and talking about this and that and partnerships, and I sit on this committee or whatever, is not the same as getting it done. And that's what I want to do as county commissioner. So I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today and taking your time to do that as well, and your board that supports you in this.
All right, thank you, Scott. So we do have other interviews as part of this series. If you are interested in hearing what Commissioner Gelder has to say, you can watch his video. We've got videos for the 35th Legislative District, for the 26th Legislative District, as well as the County Commissioner race coming up for South Kitsap. So encourage you to follow us on YouTube, like us, give us a thumbs up, comment for Scott and his crew. And remember, you can always check out Scott's website. Do you have Facebook too?
Yes, I do. Yeah,
So he's got his website and Facebook. And,
yeah, elect Scott Henden again.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Super Scott. Thank you very much for joining us, and good luck on the campaign trail. You are, what are we at now? We're just about 3 weeks away.
Yeah.
3 weeks away, and you can sleep through the night, the whole night. So
that's right. Yeah, it'll be nice when the November 3rd happens. So yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.